This is Thought Leaders on Right Back TV. All right, welcome to another episode of Thought Leaders, and today I'm sitting with a general of note. I mean, you'll know why I say general when you see him, but he's no stranger to the publicity world. And in fact, a couple of websites and bloggers have called him the masterful mind of fashion and entertainment publicity. Well, let's hear from him. Simphiwe Majola, how are you doing, sir?
I'm cool, thanks. How are you?
Very well, I'm very well. Yeah. Happy to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and we just heard that you actually just flew in.
Yeah.
You're outside, not the country, but outside the province.
Yep, I've been doing a lot of amazing things. Just came back from Cape Town with the Ostrich Farm for hosting one of the biggest concerts for Castlelight and entertainment.
Wow, nice. How did that go?
No, it was a resounding success, and initially when we were briefed we were told that it's going to be a very small, intimate event. To my surprise, packed to capacity.
I don't think you can put Afrotainment and small intimate together.
No, I mean, that was the brief.
Yeah.
To say it's very small, but when I got there, I could faint. But yeah, otherwise it went well.
No, great stuff. So what capacity were you in at this event?
So obviously I'm a publicist, so I was managing publicity for the entire event, but specifically for Castlelight.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, cool. So what does that entail? Because I always hear publicity, and I was handling the publicity for this event. What does it entail? Were you writing releases? Were you tweeting? What were you doing?
So let me just tell you, essentially my job as a publicist is to secure and manage publicity for my celebrity clients and my business clients. So obviously there I had to make sure that we invite relevant media, celebrities to obviously cover the event, and obviously profile the brand, make sure that we create that brand awareness.
So for this particular instance, you were representing the brand, the business, Castlelight.
Yes.
And do you find that there's vast changes when dealing with talent as opposed to corporate business?
There is a difference. Look, talent, in terms of talent, there are brands, talking brands, and...
Whoa, that's an interesting term, talking brands. What is a talking brand? I love that.
And with corporates are obviously brands where, for instance, Castlelight is a brand. It is the biggest brand, so it's my job to create that hype and awareness around the brand. It has to be seen and represented well across all platforms, and it needs to attract the right market so to consume the brand, because at the end of the day, the goal is to get the
consumers to consume the brand.
Yes, from hand to lip.
Well, that's when dealing with that particular one.
Yes.
But now I'd like to talk about the principle behind corporate branding. There's this thing that I read that you are involved heavily in creative brand placements as well.
Yes.
So what does that entail from a principal point of view?
So basically, the creative brand placement means I get to deal with Gwako, who's super talented. So how do I do creative media placement with her is to make sure that she's seen at all the right media platforms, from broadcast, print, and digital, and she's seen at strategically brand aligned events. So just making sure that that's the placement that we're talking about. So it has to be done creatively. All right.
And that creative edge is obviously, that's you. That's where you come in, your intellectual property. That's where it is most key.
Yes. So basically I do that using my industry networks, talent for PR, advertising, and business management, obviously, because when we do all of those things, it needs to generate income or revenue rather for the talent.
Of course,
if the talent makes money, I make money, we're able to sustain our business, we're able to put bread on our tables.
I think everybody has an edge or a passion towards whatever industry it might be in, but I think that defining point of turning the passion into capital is what a lot of people are struggling with currently. What would you say helped you overcome that?
Look, I've always been passionate about public relations, and I've always done stuff on public relations, but I never knew it was PR. Because I'm coming straight from a fashion background. Look,
of which we'll talk about.
My story is very interesting because, yes, I studied fashion at TWR at the time, Technical Witwatersrand, before it was called University of Joburg. But please, I'm hoping I'm not exposing my age. But anyway, so yes, while I was studying at TWR, I started working for a Fashion Week with John Cheng and Lucilla and all of them. So they always said I was amazing with PR, but I didn't know what sausages they were talking about. But yeah, long story short, instead of studying a BTEC in fashion, I had to go and study public relations at Prisa. For me, it's PR. I'm passionate about it. I'm getting paid to do what I really love, which is a cherry on top.
This is Thought Leaders on Right Back TV. So we're still following up on the conversation with the main man, and I've called him the General. And in case you haven't noticed, it's because, yes, of the collars, eh? Let's talk about the fashion. So you've been named also. You've been named quite a lot of things. You've been named a fashion analyst of note. You've been named a fashion producer of the SA Fashion Week, fashion reporter. I mean, those are three different caps within the same industry. What are the intricate or minute detail differences between all of those
well, let's talk about my fashion. As I said earlier, I am coming from a strong fashion background. I studied fashion at TWR, which is now called the University of Joburg. So that's DWR, yeah. And that tells you exactly how old I am. Thank you very much.
And but more importantly, it tells us of the era that you survived, because that was a very hostile era.
Incredibly hostile, but we made it and we're still standing. So obviously, with my fashion background, I started working for SA Fashion Week. That was back in the days, from when I was still a student at TWR. So by the time I graduated, I already had a job with SA Fashion Week.
Sure.
So that's where my fashion comes in. And I've never told people this, but I got into publicity by sheer default. It wasn't a planned thing. For me, I was going to study French couture straight after my diploma at TWR, which never happened, thanks to South African Fashion Week, Lucilla Boysons, and Dion Chang. That's when,
What does it entail to be a fashion producer?
So,
because all we see at SN Fashion Week is the models walking up and down the ramp and everything's cool, but there's people like fashion producers behind the scenes.
Yes. So basically a fashion producer is someone who is responsible for the collection for the designer. We make sure that the clothes are of good quality standards. They tell the story that we want to tell.
Clothes must tell a story?
Yes. It's a collection, you're telling a story. And again, everything, as you can imagine, we have a program. So shows, there's different designers showing at different times. So we need to make sure that the shows run on time, because everything has to be pre-orchestrated. It has to be, yeah.
Interesting. So you've got a flourishing career going on at the time at SA Fashion Week, and then you decide to leave. What inspired that?
I had to leave because now I'd just been introduced into a new beast called public relations.
Yes. Which everybody's telling you that you're good in.
Which everybody was telling me that I was good at, and I had to now go and study so that I can understand what it was all about. And that's how my story in PR started. And then I had to go and work. I studied at Prisa at the time. Now they've changed. Prisa is the governing body for the public relations practitioners. But at the time,
in the country,
yes, it was called Prisa. But now, because that's where I did my public relations management from there.
Is there a governing or regulatory institution for public relations in the country? So yes. There is one. And what are the sort of things that they look out for or govern?
I'm sure you know that you have to be registered. Someone needs to account for you. For instance,
you have to be registered?
Yeah, I mean, there is a medical council, there's a nursing council, there's council, is it ACA, for accountants and auditors, and we also have our own called PRISA, Public Relations Institute of Southern Africa. We need to be governed. It governs it to make sure that we practice accordingly.
So now, looking at all the regulatory things that they have, would you say it's directing PR in our country in comparison to global PR in a competitive way?
I strongly believe so. Yes, because we are telling, we're representing South Africa internationally. I mean, we live in a global village, so whatever we do this side has to obviously speak to the people on the other side.
This is Thought Leaders on Right Back TV. All right, so we're back again on Thought Leaders with the main man, the general himself, Simphiwe. So let's talk about, we were talking about talent actually. And I was about to say, do you find with going into understanding a person as a brand, does the person sometimes end up existing outside the brand? So meaning, Pearl Thusi, for instance, is this kind of person when she's chilled at home, but this is who the public know Pearl Thusi to be. Does that ever happen?
It does happen. It happens all the time. So
is it?
Bear in mind, this is, for us, it's a job. It's a job for Pearl. That's what puts bread on her table.
Okay.
So when there's lights, camera, and she has to actually adapt and change to be that character that people see her, and when she's at home, she's a completely different person.
And largely, you are shaping that character.
We have to shape. I mean, you have to tell, because you must know, PR is all about creating perceptions. So
Wow,
it's the
I like
perceptions
that.
we create.
PR is about creating perceptions.
Yes,
I like that.
and we make people believe those perceptions. So that's why at times it's people like us and people like your Vistas that guide and, train
Shape the creating of
these talents
people.
that guide. Don't forget, Rev, this is business. We're doing this because we want to put money on the table. That's not, so that, it's always important to remind them so that they won't grow bigger heads
than the actual
Absolutely.
people that perceive them to
Yeah.
be who they are. Okay.
Good job.
All right. So are we going to do some fashion analyzing right now?
Oh my gosh.
Are you going to analyze me real quickly? Okay, tell me what's going on, man. I can take it. I've heard that you're a toughie. I've heard that. So I can take it.
You'll take it as a man.
I'll take it as a man.
Okay, look, I find your waistcoat stunning. It's amazing. I love the creative painting. I think this is House of Ole. He's
Hey, you
on
know your
point.
fashion.
Yeah, no, House of Ole, you can never go wrong with House of Ole. Yeah, the shirt works, but something is missing. It looks like we could have added something. It
Like
needs
a bow
that
tie or a tie or
something. It looks
Or like a...
but I like the that seriousness upstairs and
Okay.
playfulness downstairs.
All right. Thank you for that. I'm going to take it. I'm going to speak to my fashion consultants
Please.
and tell them that, this is what's in
You
Simphiwe
need
has
to be
say.
well packaged.
Yep.
Not only you can't only be fluent and great on television. You need to be well packaged. How you dress, everything needs to be orchestrated to the T.
And this is a free PR consultation right here.
Rebo, I'll be sending the invoice very soon.
Talking about invoices, is this a very fruitful, in terms of remuneration, practice or industry to be in? Besides the fact that you pulled up here in a Range Rover.
Look, I'll be very honest.
Besides that fact.
PR is a very lucrative career if you know your story and you know it well. It is a lucrative career, I don't want to lie.
Okay.
Yes.
And would you suggest that people go into it?
Look,
Do you think there's space for people to go into it?
there
Is the
a
country
huge
growing
space,
in
but
that
you need
industry?
to be passionate. You need to have all the basic attributes that are required for their career, because otherwise it's a very difficult career. I don't want to lie. There's a lot of hard work, stress, sweat, blood, tears, everything.
Blood,
I
tears.
mean, I know it looks very glamorous, but there's nothing glamorous about it. People only see the end product. They don't know what happens behind the scenes. For instance, if we have an event, you run around setting up, doing everything in overalls. 5 minutes before the event starts, you
gotta
put on
suit
your
up.
best outfit and you hold your classes and everything. You know what I mean? You're the first one to arrive at the event and you're the last one to leave. So yeah, you need to have the passion for it.
Simphiwe Majola saying everything that you do doesn't come easy. All you see is the glam, but there's actually some hard work that goes behind the passion.
This is Thought Leaders
On Right Back TV.